Wagwan family, how y'all doing? Thank you for tuning into Essential Therapy Wellness Center. Back at you with another video. It's a video of personal reflection, just sharing a little bit about what my day has been like emotionally and spiritually. Um, the downloads, the messages. So since being in Jamaica, one of the things I found myself asking myself is spiritually in connection, have I been opening myself up enough to get what it is that I need? And I believe today was a culmination of that being a yes. Um, we'll talk more. I know we still owe you some videos and updates and things. We just been in a bunch of flux, so be patient with us. But in the meantime, I'll always have these messages, for you guys, you ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens. Forgive the glare if you hear some background noise. I'm in the lobby of a hotel right now. So anyways, hmm, where do I start? If you see me looking down, I have a couple of nuggets that I wrote down earlier that I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to try to stay on task. It may seem as though at times I'm probably skipping from thought to thought, but it all kind of goes together. If nothing more, let it serve as like nuggets and points, with some type of, message or wisdom of some sorts. Let me start here though. I feel like this is a good place to start. I was talking to my best friend today, one of my best friends today, my sister, and she was making mention of a interview that she had saw of Fantasia. Now I love Fantasia as a queen. I love her as an artist. I love her realness. I love her authenticity. I loved her ministry. I love her her beginnings. And I love how she's always staying true to herself and displaying that and letting people know that she's human. Like, don't let this gift fool you. I still have day to day things that I'm sorting through. I still have a family that I have to show up for. I love Fantasia. What I'm getting at is a quote that she said, and I didn't hear it directly, but for what I was going through at that in that moment, it was a bit of an expansion of her message, and I'm not going to try to quote her verbatim, but pretty much it was something along the lines that she was texting her friend or someone from her team, and she said, "I lost my cape." And her friend responded and replied and texted her back and said, "It's okay. Don't worry. You can have half of mine." And my sister slash best friend and I just began to dissect that and talk about what it meant for us, you know. And with that being said, let me take this on my ear because it's not like it's connected to the computer. What that meant, I kind of took that and I started, of course, when you hear things, you start trying to get the meat out of it. What does it mean for me in my situation, what I'm feeling, what I'm going through? And so when she said, "I lost half my cape," she said, "I lost my cape. It's okay. You can have half of mine." Today and any other day, I should say, that I appreciate my tribe. And sometimes your tribe is not always blood relatives. It is your created family that you have commonalities, you've had experiences with, you've had challenges, ups, downs, cries, laughter, the whole nine. And my tribe is very strong. I have to say I'm blessed. If you are blessed to have a handful of people, and I said this in another video, if you are blessed to have a handful of people, you're doing real good. That loves you unconditionally, that believes in you, that supports you, that validates you, and also tell you when your stuff stink a little bit. Okay, you are blessed, and I am fortunate to say I have more than what's on this one hand. Okay, throughout my tenure of my 46 years, yes, I just had a birthday on April 25th. Shout out Bull Gang. Um, I'm fortunate to be able to have cultivated relationships that are meaningful, that are of substance. And so today, this is just one of the many days that I needed someone to be the wind beneath my wing. Because I was feeling really like this. I was feeling all contorted and distorted today. And partly because we understand as the feminine energy, we go through this moon cycle, this moon time. Sister Rojo, if you will. Okay, need I say more? And around this time, you get a lot of, we need to learn how to appreciate this time, even though it feels so tumultuous and so daunting and so inconveniencing. We really need to learn. I ain't gonna say we need to learn. I would say my suggestion is to to find the try to find the benefit, the appreciation as to why the divine made us the way we made. That's another story for another day. But what I was saying was I was in some things in when this time of the month comes, and not to be, but we're grown. Okay, we're grown. So we understand what women go through. And women go through so much mentally, spiritually, emotionally when things are waving. It's like sometimes you can't feel like you're connecting the dots. Long and short is my friend was there for me for that, one of my sisters. And she was the one beneath my wing. And I just began to pour out. And part of this message, let me stick on to this, is my extrapolation of this message was she said, I lost my cape. And I internalized the message and what it meant for me in that moment. And I said, I release my cape. Now, that might not sound very big, but for those of you out there like me that's used to being the one that everyone calls, used to being the strong one, used to being the peacemaker, used to being trying to be all things to all people. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that to a point. Because sometimes even that personality, that gift can come it can become expensive emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And dare I say, because we are four-part being, I'm going to go ahead and say physically. Because when you're spiritually, mentally, and emotionally drained, your body feels it. Okay? Same task. So I said, you know what? I release my cape. And in this season, I've had the season where I am the underdog's voice, and I still am. Stay with me. I've had the season where you ain't gonna get over on me. And I still am there. Don't get me wrong. Stay with me. And I had the season where everybody can get it. And I'm still there to a certain extent, but y'all stay with me because everybody's growing. Like, don't look at me like that. Everybody is growing. But I said, I am on the softer side of my strength. When we think about Kate, we think about someone being strong. We think about somebody being the warrior. We think about someone standing in their physicality, maybe. We think about literally fighting the battle. Okay. And sometimes that battle is not physical. Don't let the fist fool you. And sometimes that battle is within ourselves. Sometimes that battle is within our environment. Sometimes that battle are within our relationships. Sometimes that battle is within our mind. Stay with me. And so I say, I'm on the softer side of this strength thing. And I'm releasing my cape. I'm releasing what we think about when we see superheroes. I'm releasing that part. It's not that I'm totally doing away with it, but that's had its season. This season I'm in is the season of me getting down to ground zero, me getting deeper. And let me tell you something else. When they have that saying, be careful what you pray for, let me make sure this volume is up because I'd be mad is I don't know what if it's long, can't be heard. Be careful what you pray for. We have to have an accountability for our prayers and our intentions. And the reason why I say that is when we first got to Jamaica, I knew that that was going to be much of another level of spiritual connectiveness because my environment had changed. My I'm a little bit more restrictive because I can't go out and just make myself be busy, busy, busy physically, but you can still be busy up here. That's another story for another day. Let's stay on focus. But um, but yeah, and I solicited my spirit, my guides, my angels, my ancestors. I solicited them and I said, whatever it is that's deep, deep, deep within me or my generation, generational curses, secrets, whatever the nuance is, I want to free at least myself from all of that. I want to break the generational curse of whatever it could be for me, knowingly and unknowingly, subconscious or consciously. Okay. And so that's why it's so important to be responsible and accountable for what it is that you pray for. Because we don't get to choose how the universe, the divine, God Almighty, the Most High, we don't get to choose in what lesson and what way that is delivered. We don't get to choose the delivery of the message. We don't get to choose the delivery of the lesson. We don't get to choose how we feel while we're going through and matriculating through that. We don't always get to choose that. And I don't want to say like get to choose like you're losing your power, like you don't have a choice to be happy or sad. I'm not talking about in that regard. I'm saying that because when we open ourselves up or we say whatever it is that needs to be revealed, come on. Now it sounds real good saying it, but when it happens, are we able to settle ourselves and be like, you know what? This don't feel good, but I know I asked for this. And if this is the avenue that I got to take to get to that level of lesson, that level of healing, that level of believing, that level of faith, okay, our words have power. And so while I was feeling what I was feeling today, I had to go through this ugly cry, y'all. I had to go through this ugly cry and I had to dissect a statement that was made, not directed, not meant to hurt me at all, but it was a triggering parallel to a scenario that had been bothering me or things in my childhood or my adult or my teenage years that had come up, but I probably didn't really, really dig deep. And this could be any topic for any one of us. You can dissect what that is for you at this point in time as you're listening to me talk. But for me, I got to give myself credit. I know grown and I know I'm still growing, much like a lot of us. And one thing I had to give myself credit for was in that moment, this innocent, this innocent bystander, if I wasn't using emotional intelligence, I could have emoted in an explosive way to a trigger, and nobody would have. It wouldn't have been substantial to the people on the outside. Stay with me, but I did have the wherewithal to say in that moment that hurt my feelings, and I didn't say it to where it made a big deal. But I was like, man, I had my feelings. But I was able to stay engaging and not let it get to the point where my exterior environment was distorted or, whatever. I didn't have a blow up or nothing like that. But I just took note. You know how you take a note on your phone so you don't forget something. You will see. I took note in my heart and I said, you know what? That's something you got to go back and touch. It was something at 10 years old, a space and time that you felt abandoned. And even though this statement that was made was in relation to a visitation of me visiting my dog, it was not meant to be hurtful, but it was just like an alignment of things that I'm already working through in the name of severing cords and disbanding, cutting off generational curses. And today, because of my mother Roja, sister Roja, I was able to verbalize those things. I was able to purge. Before this time, I was sitting here and I was like, maybe I'm hungry. I haven't eaten in a couple, I haven't eaten the majority of the day. Let me go eat. So I did that. And that's important to check in with yourself too. Ask yourself what it is that I need in this moment. Am I hungry? Am I tired? What is it that I'm feeling? Identify that. Okay. Take that as a nugget. And then I was eating and I finished eating and this ball of emotion came upon me. I couldn't even get up. I paid and it was felt like I was running to my car, to my truck because I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I don't have anxiety attacks, but I felt like I couldn't. It was a ball right here in my throat chakra. And I was trying to hold back the tears till I got to the truck so I could just blurt out. And then as I was getting in the truck, that's when my best friend slash sister had sent me a message, just, touch a base. I said all that to say that the soft side of my strength in this season is that I am acknowledging, Spirit is allowing me to connect the dots. I am being emotional intelligent, giving a name to the emotions that I feel, not trying to go around about it within my own head. If I felt abandoned at a point in my time in my life, and I'm sure that we all can relate, I'm able to verbalize, feel abandoned. If I felt neglected at a space and time in my life at any point in time, while I probably wouldn't have said those words before, but I would say them for the other people as they're telling me their symptoms and what they're feeling, I hadn't really said it for myself. And I was able to say at this point in time in my life, in this segment, this age group, felt neglected. If I wasn't able to say at any time in my life before now, but I said it to other people, that I didn't feel heard or seen to my core. Not what people do for you, but to the core, unconditional. I said it to myself today. I said it to the 10, the 12, the 14, the 16, the 18-year-old, 25-year-old, to myself today. And it felt good. And the more I spoke using my throat chakra, the more that pain that I had, which lies right around the sacral and the solar plexus, which is where your confidence lies, I was able to release that. I was able to tap into a softer side of my strength. Dare I say self-love again? Because, it's all synonymous. It all goes together. It all goes together in validating myself. And thinking about some of the relationships within my family, some of the stories that circulate, some of the secrets that circulate. I will say at times, and this is not for everybody, but there be times where we will have to soothe the savage beast within ourselves. If it be a person that's receptive of hearing whatever the wrongdoingness that has been done to us, if they're in a receptive place, then there lies an opportunity for healing and growth and maturity. But there'll be times when we're not able to face that person and expect them to have the same emotional intelligence and take an accountability. And that's when you have to, the Bible verse that says, don't cast your pearls amongst swine. That's when there's instances, and not every case, hear me what I say, there's different scenarios for different people. But I'm just trying to blanket it all so that it hits wherever it needs to hit for whoever's watching this at this moment. There'll be times when the savage beast is in us. The things of old and generational curses is still lying dormant within us. And if we're tired of feeling neglected and inadequate, if we're tired of our finances being attacked, if we're tired of our relationships being attacked, then these are all connected. Okay? My spirit gave me an image of a tic-tac-toe. You know how when you win, when you get up and down, when you go side to side, when you go diagonal. Okay? But sometimes it's not that clear cut of a line. Sometimes these cords, Lord help me, sometimes these cords don't go straight. They coil, they twist, they turn, and some of them go in a circle. And when they go in a circle, that means you're going back and you're recycling the healing. The hurt might have been cycled, but when you stop the cycle, in some instances, then it circles back to the source, and hopefully they can receive that healing. But even if they can't, we have to understand that as we cut these cords, and they try to encapsulate us. You ever seen someone that's bound, like literally got like a rope around them and they can't move? I'm trying to think. I want to say in the tarot that is I can't think of it. It's been a while since I messed with my cards. But anyway, there is an image of being bound, not being able to move. Okay. And sometimes those generational curses, they'll come down from wherever they are and they'll try to surround you. Okay. And then sometimes we need to understand that at the end of that rope is not a knot. It's still loose. How do you know it's still loose? Because sometimes we can make the unconscious decision to keep that coil going. And if we're not tuned in, tapped in, and turned on, if we're not opening up our crown to our higher self, you can unknowingly continue that coil around yourself and around your seeds. But when you realize I'm not bound here. I'm not bound. Spirit guide, angels, and ancestors show me, illuminate what it is on a level I can understand and comprehend. How do I untie? How do I find the beginning, the root of this thing, this ground zero thing? And whatever it is, wherever the origination is, I'm trying to put this in words. Whatever the origination is, it can find itself bleeding down into the things that we prioritize as important. Meaning, the origination of the thing, it may not necessarily touch the exact same thing up here. It may not touch the exact same thing down here. I'm trying to put an example. Say, for instance, someone values Gucci bags. Say, for instance, somebody values Gucci bags up there. Just give an example. This is why it's important to identify what you value. Just giving us an example. Hopefully this makes sense. Say you value Gucci bags up there. That's indicative of the origination of this generational curse. But down here, I don't really care about bags that much. But I do care about my time. I do care about my health. Just give an example. I hope this is a good one. So what I'm saying is the Gucci bag might have been of importance up here to this person. And they bleed that down. I don't even know if that's a good idea, good scenario, but hopefully y'all get what I'm saying. But it don't touch. I'm not touched by Gucci bags down here, but whatever this is originating up here, it's touched me in a time. It's touched me in my time, valuing time. It's touched me in a way of how I feel about my body and my health. Meaning, it's not a tic tac toe situation. It's not a straight line. It's whatever you have prioritized that generational curse up here, that origination is affecting something that you prioritize. It can still affect you. How do we know that generational curses of family secrets is not messing with my money in the here and now? How do I know that the spirit of lack in neglect and abandonment up there is not messing with my idea about what's going on with my finances? Why do I feel cursed? Because that's what it all boils down to. The curses don't have to match, but we have to identify and become aware of its origination and how that shows up in our life in the here and now. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comment box if y'all can identify with what I'm talking about. And I hope I might have made it not made it such a good parallel with the Coach bag, but I'm just saying the curses don't have to match. We just need to know that they're curses, and that however it shows up in our life, whether it shows up in our attitude, whether it shows up in us in projection, whether it shows up as regret, whether it shows up as financial curses of your monies, whether it shows up in how I feel about my body. If it shows up in I'll never be enough. If it shows up in I gotta have this amount of letters behind my name in order to feel like I'm worth something or validated of something. No knock against anyone that has letters behind their name. I got letters behind mine. But I'm just saying that the curse don't have to match, but it's a curse nonetheless. And whatever is held true and upheld in our life here and now, they could be traced back to some generational curses way back then. And when you open yourself up to being a different type of strong, that's when the divine can show you these things. And we got to keep in mind that we cannot always choose how they show up. Lessons come in different ways, beloved. And I'm learning that something so small and minute, it was a joke, triggered something to the point where I was so glad I was able to hold it and know that I had to come back and dissect what that meant at 10 years old was inside of me. And the funny thing is, nothing appears just once. Nothing is felt just once. Nothing is, the dream doesn't happen just once. You know what I'm saying? Your subconscious, it doesn't show you just once. It may show you different faces of it, different aspects of it, but it doesn't show you just once. It shows up in a numerous of ways, but to get you to an expected end of dealing with the thing, whatever the thing is for you. Okay. So that was very meaningful to me to share that. And I'm pretty sure more downloads are going to come. But be the softer side of strength in this season. It's going to look different for everybody. The generational curses and the things that have been spoken knowingly and unknowingly, consciously and unconsciously, we have to now tap in. We have to tap in, kings and queens, because I'm going to tell you, if we think about it, the times of old and the generations prior to, they didn't have they didn't have as much support of people holding space for them and their feelings. It was all about survival. They didn't have the resources that we have. Now we're a big advocate for therapy. They didn't necessarily have that back then. They they didn't have a big advocacy for truth. Now we do. This is why you find so many people that things have happened to them so many years ago, and they're just now finding their voice in this day and time in this century. And rather than support them in their truth, we want to ask the question of why did it take you so long? Does it really matter? If the person is finally getting free, I don't care if they're in their 80s, 90s, while they have breath in your body, why not get free before you take your last breath on this earth, in this reality, in this realm? Why not? Shouldn't we want freedom for everybody, regardless of when they come into their voice? Shouldn't we? Right? Wouldn't that be the humanistic thing to support? But back then, y'all, if you be honest, they didn't have a lot of support. We have so much support in this day and time. And because we have so much support, we're able to show the previous generation how to be on the soft side of their healing, the soft side of their strength, no matter how old and how young we are. We have to support that and hold space for that. At least we should. There are things that members of my family have done, and I'm not saying they were right. They weren't. Got treated like ultimately doo-doo. But when they come into the healing space of them, first of all, they have to take the consequence of everybody they've hurt. And if certain peoples within that lineage they're after them decide or make a choice, that yeah, I forgive you, but I ain't gonna mess with you like that. That's the consequence they have to accept. But but for those relationships, partnerships, dynamics that can be healed, so be it. And it's not for us to necessarily judge those that choose not to deal with the issue or they've dealt with it within themselves or to decide that we gonna kumbaya. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's neither here nor there. But I just said all that to say that support is still here. And we, listening, have to decide that we will be the generational curse breakers. No one's perfect. No one has a glass house. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is perfect. We're all learning. We're still journeying through this time space right here. And as we open ourselves up to the Most High, it's like a loving parent. Maybe some of the parents, some of the love and the wisdom that we've never even been given. Some of us, and some of us was given it on a level that could only be comprehended by that person at the time. But I believe we can go back and heal those generational curses. We can sever them, and we can choose to be more aware going forward and not to pass those things down to our seed. And if you are listening and you have found yourself to be the person that have to assume the consequence of hurting someone, of wronging someone, of projecting on someone, then I encourage you to forgive yourself. I encourage you to forgive yourself because regret can eat you like a cancer. And sometimes you won't get the opportunity to maybe say, I'm sorry, or go back and have that person even give you the time for you to say, I'm sorry to their face, but you have to forgive yourself. We have to forgive ourselves. There is a prayer called a Ho'oponopono. I should link it here. And the thing is a long prayer, but it's an affirmation as well. And even if you're saying it to yourself, you're saying, I'm sorry, forgive me. I love you. What should I say? It's one part of it that I'm missing, and I'm gonna put it down in the comment box. But we need to forgive ourselves because no one is perfect. Some mistakes left lasting impressions on people, and that's not to be taken lightly. And we're validated in the way we feel. But I also want us to get to the point of forgiveness, at least the forgiveness within ourselves, so that we can heal and be on the softer side of strength. I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening to this. I know it was rather long. I might not even put any edit to this because I wanted to give it to you guys the way it was given to me. So it probably won't be no music on this one right here. It may not even be an intro because it is so long, but I just felt so strong to share my vulnerabilities with you guys and what I experienced today and the lessons that came out of it and what my spirit had me to share. And I pray that it's been impactful. And on some level that we ponder and say la on what's been said, and if nothing more, just forgiveness, breaking the cords, and being on the softest side of your strength. I love you so much. Until we see each other again, I say, oh.